1 year ago, I decided to put 30% of my portfolio into Barrick Gold, and now I just sold out of my entire position. But I actually haven't lost faith in gold, and that is what I'm going to be talking about in this video. Why did I sell it then? Another thing that I haven't lost faith in is you. You can still do it. You can still go and follow my Instagram. Oh, that was so bad. Okay, just go follow my Instagram. I post stuff on investing, business investing, quotes I find interesting, and of course my everyday investing life. Go and follow that. It takes 2 seconds. It boosts my ego, and thank you for doing that. Let's get into it. When I first bought Barrick Gold, it was because a fear that I had for inflation getting out of hand, inflation already being high, and I kind of saw some patterns with this inflation just continuing to increase, and the Fed continuing to say that it's just a temporary thing. So I decided to put a huge chunk of my portfolio, arguably a way too big chunk, into Barrick Gold. But the biggest mistake actually wasn't that I put it into Barrick. It was that I didn't analyze the stock when I first bought it. I had no idea about their future growth and their financial position. At the time, I was just scared about holding cash and being in these other investments, so I kind of panicked into this investment. And I found some fundamental issues with Barrick. A couple things that I found was, for example, they have been diluting their shareholders over the past 5 years. And they're also not in a position where they, with their short-term assets, can pay off their long-term liabilities. So those are just two of the issues that made me sell Barrick Gold. And these two reasons alone actually would have been enough for me to go ahead and sell my position. For 2022, I'm actually interested in owning gold. Right now I don't own any gold, but I'm actually looking at a couple investments. When I buy gold, I look at it as a hedge against inflation and potential stock market crashes. Basically, I want to decrease the amount of risk that I'm taking. First of all, when I'm investing in a company that has some fundamental flaws, plus it's just a single company, I don't know if this company is going to be the one to do well over the next 5 to 10 years. So, here's my thesis. Gold as a commodity is what you buy to decrease your risk. And to keep that thread, why not invest in a gold ETF? So, here is my investment strategy when it comes to gold for 2022. I'm going to start buying GDX, a gold ETF that just tracks all of these gold miners. I still want to own the miners because there are huge advantages to owning the miners of gold in opposed to owning physical gold. But I still want to take on as little risk as possible. And I do that by diversifying into a lot of different gold mining companies. So I get the benefit having a hedge against inflation and stock market crashes, recessions, etc. And I get out of Barrick Gold that has some fundamental issues. Another reason why I actually decided to sell Barrick was they've just come out with some honestly great news about their company. They have just announced that they want to buy back $1 billion worth of shares this year, which means that they're going to do the opposite of what they have been doing. They've been diluting their shareholders, but now they're actually going to buy back shares. And they've also announced that they're going to be increasing their dividend because the gold prices increased this year. Those two things in itself made Barrick a lot more attractive. And that combined with the underlying commodity going up in value has of course driven the stock price. So why did I decide to sell at this point in time? Well, as Warren Buffett says, you want to be greedy when others are fearful, and you want to be fearful when others are greedy. And right now in the stock market, there's a lot of fear. And right now in the gold market, there's a lot of greed because people want to get in on this. They want to feel safe. So I decided to sell Barrick in a time where there's a lot of greed in gold, and there's a lot of fear in the other markets that aren't hedges against inflation. So I decided to move my money from the safe place, which is gold, to the place with a lot of fear right now. That is kind of my whole thesis for the coming year, because I want to be ready for even more crazy things happening this year in the market. We are only a couple months into the year, and we are already seeing historical high inflation and rate hikes coming shortly, and a war already. Those three things brings a lot of fear to the markets, and that is why I think this year is going to be a huge buy year for me. I wanted to stack up on this cash, and since Barrick was a huge investment. I made 30% of my portfolio. That grew to about 35% of my portfolio. Having sold that now, I am laying with about 45% cash in my portfolio. This makes me feel like I'm in a very great position, because I think there's a lot of volatility coming, especially with the Fed meeting coming up here, the 15th, March 15th, and the Russia-Ukraine war. So I think there's going to be a lot of buying opportunities this year, and that is why having a lot of cash, I think, is beneficial to benefit from this volatility that we are going to see. And it's important to see this investment game as a long-term thing, because right now I'm doing what might be considered as stupid, selling out of a popular asset that is trending right now, gold, right? I'm selling that to move into stocks, which seems like just a bad idea right now. And just to be clear, I'm not going to invest all of my money at once, but I'm going to spread it out, and hopefully with some increase in my cash flow, I'm going to really benefit from the coming years if we're going to see a crash even more than what we've already seen, which, by the way, I think we're going to see that. I'm now in a position to take advantage of a recession, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to sell everything, because that would be stupid, because I can't be wrong. It could be 5-10 years before a recession is here, right? So why miss out on that growth? Right now I have some stocks that I'm looking out for. I've made a little rule for myself that I'm not going to be buying any of these companies before March 15th, because I don't want to take on more risk. The Fed meeting is going to be a huge deal for people. Although if we look at history, it's not a big deal, this like quarter or 0.5% rate hike. Historically, we have seen much higher rate hikes. They maybe haven't even affected the markets in that big of a way. But in the psychology of the markets, this is going to be a huge deal. If you want to invest now, there's two things that you have to predict. You have to predict the outcome, which is basically a two-way street right now. It is, are we going to see a 0.25% rate hike? Are we going to see a 0.5% rate hike? First of all, you have to guess that one right. But then after that, you have to guess how the market's going to take that information. People have been fed up with hearing about this 0.5%, the worst case scenario for the stock market. People have been fed up with hearing this. So is that already priced into the market? Is that a part reason of the recent decline? Or is that not even priced into the markets yet? At the end of the day, you're not going to have the odds on your side if you're going to make an investment before these news. Maybe I'm going to buy some gold before the meeting, I don't know. If there's a good deal, I'll get it. But otherwise, I've just a couple great value investments on my watch list that I'm going to continue buying every time they go down, a drop because of volatility, bad news. Markets always overreact, so I'm in a position now to take advantage of that, and you should be too. And also, be sure that you take advantage of the like button down below. It takes 2 seconds and it makes the algorithm very happy. That was pretty much all I had for this video. Make sure to go and follow my Instagram, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.